April 17, 2025. This is the S&P 500 E-futures mini on a 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. Today, like yesterday and the day before, the trading has been kind of slow. There weren't that many good setups. Today, I actually only identified, well, really, there's only probably one setup, and I took one trade off a setup that is admittedly kind of sketchy, especially after reviewing it in hindsight. So I'm going to go through the setups now and also just kind of throughout the day. The only economic data that came out was at 5:30 Pacific Standard, which is about right here. It was the unemployment claims. This week, in general, the ATR has been a lot lower and the price action has been a lot slower. So there wasn't as much candles being printed, which is kind of a change considering what was happening last week with a lot of tariff news. Tariff news are still making headlines, but it doesn't seem to be a big reaction anymore because I think a lot of the big announcements have been kind of been absorbed, and the market kind of knows these kind of crazy things could happen. So that's my only reason for thinking why things have slowed down. I believe in the next couple of weeks, things might pick up again because there's earnings season again, and some big companies will announce, and that could cause the market to shift up and down, or again, just tariff news. But as of now, I think tariffs are, most of them are on hold, except for China, for about 90 days for a minimum amount of tariffs, I think like 10%. But hopefully, next week will be a little bit more better price action. Tomorrow is actually a holiday. I think it's good, uh, like Easter holiday. I'm not sure what it's called, but it's just Easter holiday, so there's no trading tomorrow. In the pre-market, there was kind of this move up, break of the green up channel, test the high, and it kind of moved down what I thought was this nice yellow down channel. And then it opens after it was kind of following this down channel, but there wasn't really any setups. I started looking at the charts really here, and this is all this stuff behind is more like hindsight, just practice my chart and trend channel drawing skills. So it kind of opens, flushes down. There's no real clean setup. There's a new low here. It's a first entry short. There's a second entry short. This is maybe a trade. I should have marked it. Second entry short right here because there's also a potential triple test right here. So there's like a potential trade right here. It's a rejection off this down channel. Decent signal bar. Possible trade here. It is a little bit earlier in the day. It's only about 6 minutes in. So I tend to kind of avoid those kind of setups just because in the first couple minutes or first 10 minutes, things can be really choppy and wild. Hits the bottom, it kind of rallies, breaks, makes two legs down. Technically, you have a second entry long here, but I really didn't like this because I had this drawn as a support area first, but didn't touch super clean because you could adjust this any which way you want. So whether you took a bounce off here or not, it is potentially two legs, but I was looking for a higher low, which kind of shows up here, but it had just broken out of this resistance area. So I was thinking, at least in this area, could be a developing range, and this could be a failed breakout. So no trade there. Pushes up as a first entry long. Technically, you have a second entry long here, but it's more like a visual first entry than visual second entry. I wasn't too sure. I didn't really want to take this trade. Then it flushes down, pushes up, and it comes down on this yellow down channel, which was a little tighter initially because I actually had something closer to this at one time. So I was trying to make these candles fit, but it broke and then continued lower. Eventually, I found this yellow down channel, but it doesn't fit that clean because this first confirmation is actually here and maybe down to here. And then the bottom part kind of looks okay. So I needed more price action to actually trust prices were in a channel. And by the time I got down here, it already broke out. There's a new low, first entry short, technically a second entry short. I already tested the high, but I was looking for a lower high, and you actually get a break above this high. So this isn't really a good lower high. Plus, it's too neutral. Flushes down. This is a new high. It's a first entry long pullback. You technically have a second entry long. The EMA is a little flat. I just didn't really trust it. It could have been in a potential developing range, but it just didn't look or feel super safe today. And price action was a little slower. ATR was lower than it has been. Pushes up. It's a first entry long, pullback, second entry long out in the middle of nowhere. It's also a new swing low. It's a first entry short, technically a second entry short, but it was also just kind of out in the middle of nowhere. Pushes down, looking for a lower high if it was going to push through, or a second entry long. You get kind of a lower high here, but the EMA is flat. And then you get a second entry long here, which could have been a potential bounce off of this supporting trend line, but it is feeling kind of wide. So I was looking for, in this case, a higher low. So you do have a first entry long, second entry long, and you can get a higher low here, but it's not the right candle. Also, new low here is a first entry short, pullback, second entry short. Now in real time, I thought prices were actually going to come back and push through. But in hindsight, this is actually a really bad setup that I luckily lucked out on. So I can see here the follow through. I was able to get my 1 point scalp just barely. If I hung out any longer, this would have definitely stopped me out. So the reason I took this trade was I was thinking a second entry short. I did consider like it's a bounce off this purple. It's going to push up to the other side of this purple. But in hindsight, this is actually a very poor trade. Reason being is, okay, the green channel is broke, tested the low. It made two measured legs up, two measured leg correction. So something like this, one leg up, pull back, second leg up. This I thought was a good signal bar for the second entry short. And what actually saved me wasn't uh, anything great on my side. It was more luck. So this candle was pushing down and I was watching the tick count down and it was getting very close to closing and it was looking very bullish. So I decided kind of on a gut hunch to enter the trade right here. Actually, it's hard to see. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. I'm not sure what's going on with there we go. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. As you can see, this is where the open was. And for the longest time during 2000 ticks, the prices was below this opening. And so when it started pushing up really strongly, I put my entry on a stop limit order one tick above the open price. So I actually got filled, pushes up, hits the high, comes back down, closes right here. So then on the next candle opens, and I was very lucky to get ticked out, and then it starts moving back down. So in hindsight, this was definitely a bad trade that I lucked out on. Didn't mean to do that, but I should have just skipped completely. But I was lucky. I've been lucky lately, so I got to be careful on not trading off of luck. Then prices continue moving. It breaks below this purple, makes a first entry long pullback, second entry long, kind of below the EMA. I'm not too fond of this setup. Pushes down, hits a new low. It's a first entry short, pullback, second entry short. Bad signal bar to go short on. It is in a range now, so I'm looking for prices to either come down to here to give me a setup to go long or come up to here. And you don't really get that until about right here is the new low. It's a first entry short, pullback, second entry short. This second entry short, you have a signal bar here. So this is actually waiting for the good signal bar, which is decent. Confirms, but now the follow through, the trigger bar doesn't look that good. Pushes back up. So if you entered one tick below this, anticipating a move down, you would have gotten at least a 1 point scalp. But then if you didn't wait for good confirmation off the trigger bar, you probably would have gotten stopped out on this follow through. Bounces is first entry long pullback, second entry long pushes up, creates a higher low, pushes up on this green up channel, potential fail breakout, which is what I was thinking right here. But then it kind of bounces and it continues up. So it's like a breakout pullback. Hits the high, nothing particularly good. It's a new high here. It's a first entry long, but I saw it more as a visual first entry, pullback, second entry long here, but still within this channel. So then I'm looking for confirmation, which is a higher low here, but it's a bad signal bar and technically closed below the EMA. So I'm sitting on my hands, but it ends up working. This is probably the only other setup that I really saw. It's a double top here. So it's a first entry, pullback, second entry long, failure. Even though it's kind of like hidden because it's double high, the first entry pullback on this one creates a second entry and then it creates a failure all in the same candle. But it's very subtle, and it looked like it was hitting a resistance here that I thought maybe the prices are going to come back down, and it does. It's kind of creates a new low, but it's a triple test here, but it didn't really quite touch here. Not really sure what I'm looking at. First entry short, second entry short, really good follow through bar, but in today's case, this is a 9 point bar or 36 ticks. It just felt a little risky. On any other day, maybe not so much like last week, but today, since the ATR was lower, it does feel a little risky. Has good follow through, pushes down, would have been good enough for a scalp, and then presses up. Follows along with, I think, is this yellow up channel. Then it starts pressing down on this red down channel, breaks, but then this is kind of getting toward the end of the day where the setup and the price action is slowing down. I think everybody was taking off for early vacation or early three day weekend. That it kind of created first entry short, second entry short, signal bars, inside bar. Not really liking that. Kind of moves sideways. Kind of gets into the last 30 minutes. To be honest, I didn't really feel quite mentally sharp today. So just a lot of things happening that I didn't even create videos for the last 2 days, even though I did trade. But it's just I don't think I was on top of my game, at least for the last few days. So getting this one trade, I was just kind of super grateful. And even reading the chart today, my mind was elsewhere, kind of figuring out other things going on. That this wasn't the best day for me personally to be trading. So getting this one trade, I was after the fact, super grateful that I got it because I know how bad a trade it was. By the time it was this time of day, I think I was mentally fatigued and my mind was just wandering. So definitely a lesson learned for me was even when I got up today, I knew this wasn't probably the best day to try to trade, but yeah, I guess I felt the obligation that I needed to trade. So I needed to at least watch the charts, kind of forced the trade, lucked out, and by the time it was got to here, my mind wasn't really into it. So I'm just glad that I guess, held myself back from inventing or doing something more foolish than I already done before. So, yeah, interesting week. I'm actually very happy that there's no trading tomorrow because I think I need a mental break for at least a nice mental 3 day weekend to not really look at charts and at least reset myself, take care of other stuff outside of trading. And yeah, hopefully that was helpful.